This video is sponsored by Raycon. So, no Michael Giacchino this time around. Dude was a little busy scoring the best media creation ever created. We all love it, it's a classic, we always want to go back. Sky high. Though the score here works well enough, some happy brass played slowly and you'll feel like America was the only reason anyone won World War II instantly. At least that's what elementary school taught me. Maybe I'm too jaded at this point, but it almost feels weird now playing these older World War II shooters. The amount of censorship we face here in the States today around Nazism is a little disturbing. It's nice to come back to a simpler time where, yeah, we don't like Nazis. Still amazes me how much footage there is of World War II. Could you imagine a conflict of this scale with TikTok available? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to see how long we can dodge the draft before we get caught. Gone wrong, gone Canadian. Alright, sorry, that was a lot for some opening lines. I really was vibing with COD 2. Being the first COD game on 7th generation consoles, we get widescreen, and playing this in 4K today on PC? Game looks solid. Infinity Ward put a lot of work in the opening Russian campaign. The amount of unique animations, voice work, and level design, I think peaks with the Russians. You can really feel that classic Call of Duty DNA being written here with the presentation and design. For a 20-year-old game, you can really start feeling this being Call of Duty and not Medal of Honor killer. Dang, the teddy bears are actually an Infinity Ward classic? Treyarch, you got some explaining to do.
Lads, shoot those bottles and plates. Imagine that they are the enemy.
COD 1's tutorial was super simple and safe, putting you straight in a boot camp setting. I really like this time around. We get a snappy tutorial set in the middle of the war. You can hear distant gunfire constantly, making this world feel alive. And if you want to hear this audio in top-notch quality, then you can't do any better than the Raycon Everyday Earbuds. The Everyday Earbuds Classic are loaded with all the features you love and expect, but also a few super convenient ones not always found on other buds. We've got active noise canceling, a super small profile with no tail. They basically disappear into your ear, meaning that I just love using these for long gaming sessions as I just forget that they are there. The new colors are a vibe. If you've noticed anything about my channel, you'd see that I love purple, so you just knew I had to go with their blush violet color. And not only that one, Raycon has many other colors to choose from to truly make these buds yours. It feels less like just earbuds that everyone else has and more like an accessory that matches me. And these are called everyday earbuds for a reason. They charge quickly, 10 minutes gives you 90 minutes of playtime, up to 32 hours of battery life with the case, and awareness mode, which is perfect when I'm elbow deep in a gaming sesh and I guess somebody just walks up to me and wants to talk to me. But even beyond gaming, these are the everyday earbuds, not the gaming buds. I love using these for when I do the dishes or go to the gym, as their small form factor and water resistance makes it perfect for any use case. The everyday earbuds are already an incredible value and affordable for everyone, but Raycon's going big for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Everything's up to 30% off. Just click the link in the description, pin comment, or go to buyraycon.com/gamingwins to save on Raycon audio products site-wide. Thank you again to Raycon for sponsoring this video.
Come over here and pick up a grenade.
These are potatoes, Comrade Commissar. Why are we using potatoes instead of real grenade?
This opening is actually just a tutorial in gaslighting, didn't you know?
Why are we using potatoes instead of real grenade?
Because real grenades are valuable. In fact, they are worth a lot more than you are.
Along with a unique setting for our tutorial, we get some fun characterizations to spice it up. These early CODs slowly added more and more character to their games as we get deeper into the series. Big Red One and Treyarch really being the ones that led the way in that front. This marks the start of when COD moved from corridor gallery shooter to character-led spectacle set-piece shooter. Like, say what you will about these games' narratives, but you can't tell me that the characters aren't iconic. This look from Ghost and new Modern Warfare 2? Woods and his onions? This is the first COD on the 7th generation consoles, more specifically the PC and Xbox 360. This is back when Microsoft knew what they were doing and locked COD up early. This was what started that relationship of map packs being Xbox exclusive for a month among other perks. Regardless, this jump from COD 1 to 2 is quite massive. Just to start, the level of animation, voice acting, and presentation is enough to make you kind of go, wow. I sure did booting up for the first time coming directly off of 1.
Grab a submachine gun and make sure you reload it first. Always make sure you have a full magazine before you go into battle.
And thus everyone started the habitual reload, even if you're missing one bullet. This behavior of ours is being tested in many modern extraction shooters like Helldivers and Tarkov. Man, they really cooked with this opening level. Getting everything we need to know from basic controls to new mechanics slipped in an unobtrusive way that builds upon the level and feels purposeful. I don't know, I've always praised and loved a good game tutorial. Along with that jump to new hardware is just the amount of detail that is packed into these levels. Gone are the somewhat liminal levels of the first game. Looking at you, V2 mission and corridors of the dam from COD 1 specifically. Stalingrad feels real with the amounts of random debris and cover that can be found. You really get a sense that they wanted to wow gamers with this opening campaign. Can we all agree that the MP40 is that classic girl that everyone loves and would probably marry, but the PPSH is that dirty whore you secretly love and can't get enough of? That was such a raunchy way to explain that the PPSH is a pretty great gun in every COD game and my personal favorite. Is that a woman? In my COD game? Oh, the humanity. Has COD gone woke? Another thing COD 2 does well are these little vignettes that Halo is king of. Just these little scripted moments throughout missions that add an extra layer of spice to the constant running and shooting. Did they need to add cool sniper skin to this Nagant? No, but damn does it look cool. First skin in a Call of Duty game? This is what COD 2 does just as good as any modern COD game. The sheer scale of enemies this game throws at you is kinda nuts for just the second game in the franchise. You really get the sense of world war with the volume of bodies just being thrown your way. The sound design of COD 2 is an absolute delight. Boasting 5.1 surround for the first time in the series, you can really feel planted right in the middle of this conflict if you've got it set up for it. Either Infinity Ward knew they had made something special and just couldn't wait to show it first with the Soviet campaign, or they just really wanted to hook players. Likely a bit of both.
Damn those fascists! They barricaded themselves on the upper floors!
Shouldn't we ask them to surrender, comrade?
I'll ask them and I blown them to hell!
COD 2 walks a world at war could run for real. This is, putting it mildly, the disdain that was held of the Germans during the war. Those smoke effects putting in some work on making that collapsing building look good. We know damn well that smoke is hiding a whole lot of nothing behind it, but the illusion is top notch. We get the return of the soldier journals from COD 1 that helps us preface the mission and give a window into the soldier that we play as. Since we don't get any dialogue, these notebooks are working just as hard as that smoke. This tank encounter is entirely unscripted. They drop this enemy in front of us and expect us to figure out how it's done. A big focus for COD 2 was more emergent gameplay with smarter AI and more open spaces to play around in. In COD 1, enemies always knew where you were. Now, they actually rely on sight cones and other stimuli to locate you. This leads to a much more tactical experience if you're playing on any of the harder difficulties. Bruh. This is the coolest of the vignettes in this game. Highlights the intelligence of the enemy and shows off the power of the new console. These light shafts coming through the pipe are cool as they are scary knowing the enemy is right beneath you. It truly hits home that helpless feeling that war likely often brought upon soldiers. I know I'm front-loading this video with a lot of design and gameplay, but it's kinda hard not to when the first campaign I think did the best job of it. Call of Duty is really finding its identity in COD 2, presenting missions not with a linear path and a corridor to go down and shoot people in, think again the mission in Dam and COD 1, but arenas to explore and fight around and plan your approach. Given the new AI, a flank might actually prove fruitful. You may notice your comrades speaking all the freaking time, making callouts like you're playing Apex. This is their new battle chatter system with over 20,000 lines of dialogue that can be said, whether that's enemy positioning callouts, personal quotes, or anything in between. This was really a step to truly making these battlefields feel alive and current. To Infinity Ward's credit, I think they nailed it. There's a reason COD is still among the best-selling games of all time, and it's because they perfected so many aspects of the FPS genre way ahead of the competition. Halo was there, but cornering, I'd argue, a slightly different market. When I play COD 2, I feel like I'm at least playing up to Black Ops 1 in terms of feel and how strong these bones are. I like that this note isn't even in a bound journal, just scribbled on some paper they could find. Turrets, snow, COD! It's like the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Grenade indicators are new here, something that World at War took personally, I hear. So, regenerating health makes its debut in COD 2. No doubt a subtle inspiration from Halo, and it completely changes how they can balance combat and counter scenarios and, well, the entire game. So much changes from the fact that health regens automatically. No longer do you need to play slow and methodically or worry about a soft lock with a bad save at low health. This ups the pace of the game tenfold and achieves exactly what Infinity Ward is said quoting, wanting this game to be. A thrill ride of adrenaline. This one change begins the push of the series being less about a recreation of history and more to a freaking fun-ass game that can change its setting to anywhere. Now, though this feels pulled straight out of a World War movie, COD 2 actually makes the deliberate choice not to just recreate scenes from movies. Infinity Ward seems a lot more confident in their abilities and research to make interesting, fun levels on their own. There was lots of on-the-ground research made for this game at the locations we fight in, so Infinity Ward could get it just right.
1942. The Desert Fox and his unstoppable Africa Corps, in a series of classic blitzkrieg attacks.
Classic? Yeah, man, that was classic Germany, alright, so Mussolini can never. It's just funny hearing somebody in the time period calling it a classic.
Looks like we're in for a bloody hard fight, lads. Get us back quickly, Private.
Captain Price is our one returning character from COD 1, and I'd say they chose right. I love Steve Blum as much as the next guy, but Price is COD to an extent. I love him. COD 2 shakes things up a bit from what you'd expect from a World War II game, especially one made by an American company. We here in the States are quite American-centered and have a tendency to overrepresent America's contribution to the war. It was a world war after all, so I like the change of leaving the American campaign for last. We start with the Soviets, which is nice, but the shakeup at Africa was unexpected. It's not often, especially for the time, to see World War II media depicting the African people. Saying it's boring, right? Anakin Skywalker and all that, but Infinity War knew what to do with it. The theater had all this space. Let's freaking use it, they said. Like, just look at how many soldiers they got here at the distance charging us. I feel like only a few other COD games have matched this sense of scale since. Black Ops 2 opening nation missions come to mind, as well as Infinite Warfare. Man, that was a good campaign, that one was. And this was the forgotten second entry. This is how you make Sands interesting. Take cover behind your tanks to press the enemy? That's so cool! And I love the names of these tanks. It's a subtle thing, but builds a history to your unit in your head because of it. Why was it named Untouchable? Has it survived every encounter without taking a single shell? What about the tank named Hole-in-One? I bet the tank has a crack shot at Gunner, who never misses. Or my favorite, Lucky Lucy. In my mind, this tank crew has like zero combat effectiveness, but somehow always comes home in one piece. Neat. They blocked all this just so we could watch Price's speech literally framed by the window. The level design of the African missions are super top-notch. You'd expect the Stalingrad ones to be more labyrinthian than this, but no. This is as corridor shooter as it gets throughout the whole campaign, and this could be argued the most open theater if you don't count the ocean.
Good luck. Not bad, McGregor. Nice fight.
McGregor! A man after my heart. Excuse me, what the hell? This skybox has no right looking this damn good from 2005. Looks damn near photoreal. This was the perfect use of the open African terrain. Infinity Ward already wants more open, free-roaming levels, and this is that taken to the extreme. I enjoy the detail that we've got to get around the side or back to take out these tanks. Not in real life it was impossible to take out an enemy tank from the front, but it gets the same idea across of needing to hit the soft spot in enemy armor to disable it. And just World War II guns, you know? Everyone was still experimenting on what was most effective and best, so we get some top-loaded guns that I went into more detail on in my Vanguard video. Be sure to check that one out after this one. Guns are this game's identity, and it's why we remember certain COD games so fondly. MSNC, COD 4 M16, Galil, Commando, ACR, UMP, China Lake, Olympia, Intervention. See if you guys can guess my preferred COD based on these mentions. But the point is, there was love given to the guns, and honestly, their names as well. I understand copyright issues having become more prevalent, but come on. Everyone's going to remember the Commando as their favorite weapon, or the Lynx, not the WSP-9 or the MCW 6.8. Anyways, back to COD 2. Love World War II guns, and always look forward to how developers remake them.
Hang on! What on earth are you trying to do, McGregor? It's not that hard. Hope this works. Keep it steady, McGregor. Good time, McGregor. I'm doing my best, sir. McGregor!
Take a shot every time Price says McGregor in this mission. Absolute cinema. McGregor was burned into my memory after this mission as a forgotten COD icon. This chase scene is very indicative as well of the direction COD would take for the rest of the series. We are special forces of nature that will cut, carve, and cleave our way through the enemy. The first game had that car chase that we couldn't fight back on. Not this time. Real ride of adrenaline.
You hear that Norman has been sent home? Lucky bastard. That lucky bastard's lost his leg. Well, at least he's out of this bleeding desert.
Whoa, World War II humor, am I right? I can only imagine he meant that more than he didn't. And not to be outdone by its predecessor, we still get the occasional linear mission. This one is literally just pushing forward down hallways. Cleverly designed to feel like a war-torn town with interesting verticalities to not make you realize it's all just doom.
World. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened.
Giving it to him straight, Howie. I respect that. Not to sound too gay or anything, but I freaking love women. We had to go shoot people, so they were like, cool, we could do the same exact work you were doing, and then showed the heck up. Or, better put, we're finally allowed to show the heck up. Can I get some claps? How's the virtue signaling going? So I was totally expecting Omaha Beach, and then realized that this seems so much freaking worse. How in the world did they do this? The bravery of these men is something I can't comprehend. Just climbing a cliff face while being showered in gunfire? Absolute mad lads. I would turn tail and run if I was Germany watching this happen. But it was likely that COD 2 did point the hawk because Big Red One was simultaneously being developed by Treyarch for the PS2 and was handling the first time COD would go to the Omaha landing. And COD 2 was already starting its rep as handling the less heard of locations in the war. Now, I know what I said with all the glazing of the Soviet campaign, but when it comes to missions, this is definitely my favorite batch of them. The entire American campaign feels the weakest as a whole, but it starts and finishes so hot. Let me break it down. First, we got the horrors of war scene ripped straight from Private Ryan. Like, come on, it's D-Day. How are you not gonna rip Spielberg? Second, we get this jump scare from this hunky man. I like that he looks so young. Most of the soldiers you fight with in the American campaign don't have a lick of facial hair. Little nods that we had 18 to 21-year-olds doing this. I'm 25 and make YouTube videos and sometimes get winded going up some stairs. You try to catch me climbing this cliff, it ain't gonna go well. Scale is off the charts here. All the noise, the number of actors on the screen, the effects, the vignettes of different soldiers doing more than just shooting. Notice all the gunfire above shredding debris. Truly feels like if you pop your head up, it's over. And on harder difficulties, it would be. But what makes this mission the best isn't just the opening, it's the flow of it. This mission is unique in that it's 30 minutes, all in just a single location. COD missions spend about 10 to 15 minutes in one before moving on, but there's a story told here. Not just an objective to complete and hit the next mission. We land, fight hard to climb up the cliffside, fight through no man's land like it's World War I, then clear the town like it's World War II, and we get to clear our first objective. It feels like we're done, but nope, we gotta go back and clear everyone else out. Truly plant our flag on this rock topside before we are done. After that, they save us some time and warp us to the checkpoint, but it's the same area. We get these immaculate vibes holding out in the rain waiting for reinforcements. This is when the other shoe drops for the mission, and we are slowly pushed all the way back to the houses, to no man's land, the cliff face. The ebb and flow of this level is why I love it so much. It doesn't feel like backtracking, it feels purposeful, and the struggle of this war feels organic. All of this happening on one giant level helps build that familiarity, and gives you a bit of stake in what you're defending later. You put in so much work to take this just to be pushed back to the brink until the cavalry arrives. Freaking mint COD mission and should not be forgotten. Now we are so back. This is what I expect from my World War II media. Fighting in people's backyards and farms. My god, there are so many cows. How could Infinity Ward live with themselves putting so many of these on these fields? In Russia, we were getting large-scale meat grinder battles where hordes and waves were just thrown at each other, which isn't too far off for how it was there. In the British campaign, we're a much more specialized task force, once again, taking out key targets and snagging intel and communications and being the best right-hand man to the American assault. Then in the American campaign, it's nothing but skirmish fights until the very end. Especially on the initial invasion days, that's all it was. Splintered, unorganized fighting while companies were working through to establish a baseline with each other. Though it can all feel the same when playing through it, once you take a moment to look back, you can really see the subtle differences that elevate each one. I again love the constant gunfire we hear in the distance. We can see for miles and still don't see any other soldiers, but we know they're out there. Speaking of seeing, take a look at that view. Even in 4K on an IPS panel, the way the distant landscape looks so good. But I can only imagine how much better it must have looked on a tube TV that was more common back in 2005. Playing this Overwatch position is nice because our only responsibility are these mortar crews. I like that the objectives push us into trusting that our allies below will be just fine without us. Once I started running low on ammo, I began to just look out for the crews instead of helping out below, and it was all good. So I actually think I played the campaign out of order, but somehow it made perfect sense. Coming back to the British campaign is neat to see how joint the operations were between them and the Americans after the Normandy landings, and it really ties together most of the game.
Don't shoot! Please! Nicht schießen! We have wounded here! Hold your fire, lads.
I say we slot a sodding lot of them.
Hold your fire, that's an order!
Captain Price being the best of us again. Also, pretty accurate. German medics would treat American POWs. Similarly, American medics would treat German POWs. The rules of war were followed much bit better in European theater than the Pacific. There are even stories of medics in the middle of the battlefield from both sides treating each other's men while a firefight ensues around them.
McGregor, get over here. You remember that German lorry we passed over to the east?
We do, sir.
Get it working and bring it here.
Price really trusts this guy to freaking drive again? What the hell? There's something about the atmosphere Infinity Ward made on these rainy missions. Just kind of beautiful.
McGregor, get that barn door open.
And I really held my breath when McGregor opened the door. With how much attention he's got throughout the game, I really expected him to bite it the instant he opened the door. You ever realize that Infinity Ward has never made a World War II game since this one? And even further than that, since this game, Infinity Ward has never gone back further in time than COD 4 when it comes to time period sense. I don't know. I feel like I'd like to see Infinity Ward give another go at World War II or even Vietnam, Cold War. I'm aware they assisted on World War II Sledgehammer, but all COD games are just a homogeneous mess now anyways. Bro, what Captain Price shuffling for? Again, the level design gives the illusion of a larger battlefield, and it really is just narrow hallways till we get to the giant circle arena at the top. The natural road keeps us moving in that direction we need to go, and the minefields set up along the way keep us in bounds, much like COD 1. Made better here as Randall keeps warning us to look out for the minefield, making it feel more part of the world than a gimmick to keep us in bounds. I hope you like shooting because this mission has got a whole lot of that for you. Just about 20 minutes of no progression and non-stop shooting. Truly, the American way. This is a badass way to end the game here. Finally feeling like we've got the upper hand for once. They had bunkers on cliffs to start with. Now, they're just in little houses. We've got boats and 30 cows. This mission has a little bit of everything we've come to expect from a COD mission. We start with an invasion of a front line, then we get into some room clearing, bringing us to some corridor hallway combat, and then get hit by an open section of combating tanks, followed by some general firefighting to round us out. All while taking place among the unique German architecture that we don't get to see very much, as most games and media focus their efforts in France.
On the Rhine. I'm proud to serve with you men. You're all good rangers, that's for damn sure. Sergeant Randall? One more thing. I don't know about the gentleman part, but how'd you like to be an officer? I'm offering you a field commission as a lieutenant.
Woo! Our boy got a promotion, even though I did all the freaking work. Talk about stolen valor, am I right? And that's COD 2. Kind of a short one here for you, as there's only so much you can say about a game that doesn't have a narrative to break down and is forgotten by most people, but I freaking loved it. This felt like a quintessential Call of Duty campaign, and many of the tropes we know, love, and hate can all be seen here making their mark. I don't know if it's a compliment or an indictment that this game plays so similarly to many modern COD campaigns. Truly a timeless game, I'd say. Not a single bug, and ran so smoothly, and something you can pick up and play in just an afternoon. The only thing I was missing while playing was wishing it had co-op, as playing through this with a buddy would have been so good. But that's never been COD's MO with their campaigns. COD 2 was generally forgotten about, as there was Treyarch's COD 3 and didn't kick off the franchise like in COD 1. Truly the redheaded stepchild of the series, but I really enjoyed it. I'm excited to get to play 3 soon and see how it stands up in this opening trilogy and finally be caught up with all COD mainline entries so I can stop feeling the need to cover them. Black Ops 7 is out now, and I don't know if I'll even cover it considering I dropped Game Pass with the price hike and can't justify supporting a bad product like that directly. Maybe if I borrow a friend's Game Pass, I'll consider it. But we've got one more COD game, and then we're out of the woods for some of the other stuff I want to work on. I appreciate you all sticking around and listening to me reminisce about these old games and enjoying the few jokes I throw in here and there. Anyways, ride the speed limit, drink some water, and love one another. Pizza.